At large. Today is yet another day for the Leadership 360 show, live on Metro TV, DSTV channel 277, Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, and VOL online radio. Indeed, today is another day, and it promises to be another beautiful edition of the show. Today we have a special guest who will be helping us to understand yet another topic, critical topic in the leadership, journey. By courtesy of our sponsors, GOIL PLC, V5 Solutions Limited, and FV Global Consults, we are happy to bring you this show every week. As usual, I am your host, Dr. Victor Abbey. Let's take a quick message from our sponsors and we shall be right back in the show.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I dey come.
Shut up!
Mame, Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Raw 95.
Fill up with Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from GOIL.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for GOIL Super XP Raw 95. Go.
I promise on my honor to be a better leader every day, faithful and loyal to my country, organization, and fellow team members, countrymen and women. I pledge myself to remain true to the core values of integrity and self-discipline through my daily choices and actions. My mind is alert, focused at all times. I shall show respect to everyone always and every time. I remain a better leader and team player always. So I pledge.
Through TV and Facebook, and a playback is given on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. or 13:30 GMT. Make a date and let's have a continuous discourse on the leadership, drive that will make a better society of ours towards the sustainable development of, ourselves and generations to come. Today, our discussion is going to focus on leadership and innovation. Leadership and innovation are highly connected. One cannot happen if the other is not in there. And so we deem it very important to examine this topic today. In a rapidly changing world that we find ourselves, especially currently ongoing with the velocity of change that is so overwhelming, and it's being said that innovation is the only bridge that will connect us to the future. Innovation is that bridge that will connect us to the future. And how can that happen? That is why, critically, leadership is the enabler of that connection between the current world and the future. To help us do this discussion is a relatively younger entrepreneur who is a well-known figure in Ghana, a multiple award-winning entrepreneur, I would say, and in fact, an alumnus of University of Professional Studies in Ghana. He has a lot of awards to his credit, but prominent among these awards, one would say, is the youth, the Youth Innovative Entrepreneur Honorary Holder. This gentleman, he's in the person of Mr. Anthony Dzamefe, the CEO of Timepiece Ghana and Caveman Ghana. Anthony.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing having you here.
You got the name right. People usually suffer with the surname.
Oh, okay.
But you did great.
Well, I have to make sure I get it right because you are a special guest of
Thank
ours.
You very much.
And it's very important that we do this. All right. Before I get back to you, let me just continue just to give a brief background to our viewers and listeners to understand what exactly we mean by innovation. Let's establish the fundamentals so that we all be on the same page in doing justice to the topic we have today. Now, like I said in my intro, cherished viewers, innovation has been said as the connecting bridge between current developments and the future sustainable development. Without innovation, we cannot grow. We cannot make ends meet. And so, what is it when we talk about innovation? What is it that we mean when we say innovation? Let's take a quick look at that. Innovation may be defined as that process whereby something is added to an established system, or something is existing but a new thing is added onto that. That is either by way of a new idea, a new method, a process, a procedure, or, any other thing that is added to a system, be it a device, a machinery, a piece of equipment. Others are existing, but how do we get something new? That is the process of innovation. So innovative ideas are usually expected to come from leaders because leadership is the central enabler, as we have always said on this show. Now, Steve Jobs said, innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity, not a threat. More often than not, leaders in our part of the country or the world feel that this is the way we have done this for all these years. Why bring a change? Processes have been this way. Why are you bringing a new thing? Let us stick to the status quo. But no, innovation is the way to progress. And that is why we deem it very important to carry out this discussion. Innovation also combines new ideas with the willingness to act. It is not just about having an idea. It is the willingness to act upon those ideas that make a difference. And so we want to establish that innovation cannot happen if action is not taken. Now, someone said innovation also is the calling card to the future. The future is unknown, as is generally said. But how do you get there? So someone said, is the call card or the calling card to the future. We need to appreciate that innovation plays a critical role in our development drive. And I am excited that we're going to have this conversation today. Now, Anthony.
Hello.
You are such an amazing entrepreneur.
Thank you.
When it comes to the industry, I think you are one of the young enterprising individuals, award-winning, we have described. What does innovation mean to you, practically?
So like, you mentioned a lot of key elements of innovation. One of the key things I would want to add to that is problem solving.
Okay.
Addition of ideas, critical thinking, and all that is geared towards solving a problem. So if we identify that critical element of innovation, which is the need to solve problems, then we are on the right track. So that is the major thing that I would always mention when we talk about innovation. The need solve a problem.
Okay. So, first of all, from what I get from your submissions is that you have to identify a problem.
Yep.
And you must have the intent to solve that problem.
Yes.
And by that, you will be able to think outside the box
Yes.
to find solutions to that
Exactly.
problem. So in your drive, in your journey so far, how did you bring about that innovation?
When I take my mind back, I would credit a lot of, my innovation to the fact that I used to play video games growing up.
Okay.
I think video games, if well coordinated or well monitored, a very key instrument for developing innovation in children.
So here, technology is playing a role.
Yes,
here.
yes.
Okay.
So if well monitored, well structured,
okay.
right? Because I grew up playing video games, and some way, somehow, I was a huge fan of puzzle games, problem solving.
Okay.
So at quite a very early age, I became used to meeting stumbling blocks in a video game and taking about a week or two to figure out how to solve it.
Vale.
So I got used to that. My brother and I, we could solve the most complex of video games at the most difficult levels at a very young age. So growing up, it made me apply that way of thinking to problems generally. Because I would always say that every problem has a solution. It's just not there in your face. You have to just think about, the hidden methods, the strategies, then you can find a way to solve every problem. So I grew up playing video games, and I loved the fact that I had this dopamine effect from solving puzzles in video games, and I got addicted to it, I should say. So when I encounter problems, I have that attitude to, let me fold my sleeves and have fun with it.
Okay.
That's how I say it.
Yeah, sorry to come in. So what it means is that during those video games,
Yeah.
or by going through that process, your curiosity was actually, hyped.
It was being nurtured, yes.
Nurtured and hyped to the extent that every other thing you look at or every game you come across, you want to see how you can outperform
Yep.
on that game.
Yep.
So curiosity led you to do what?
To find solutions to every problem.
Okay, so now let's bring it to your business,
Great.
where you are credited for bringing out innovative, ideas, where you came up with a caveman watch,
Yeah.
or watches. How did it come about?
Well,
Because we have watches.
when I link
So why caveman watch?
when I link innovation to my business, I think my business was birthed by a necessity, survival, right? So resigning from my job, I was looking for opportunities left and right.
What was the problem?
The
Because you said
problem-
it's about solving a problem.
Yes, the reason why I resigned from my job, let me say, was that before I went to work for that particular company, I believed in myself that I was very multi-talented. But working there in the company, it was an environment that did not allow me to express my creativity. So I felt that my strongest attributes were being tamed. And it was so bad that I got to a point where I actually started believing that I was not as creative as I thought.
Okay.
Because the system suppressed it very much, that I crawled into my shell. So it was an awakening moment that made me realize that, I think I have to give it a try. I'm actually a creative person. And realizing that the environment there, the bureaucratic environment, was boxing my ideas or my creativity. That was one of the main reasons why I left.
Okay.
So I left just job searching, looking for opportunities left and right. And then one day, I wanted to buy a watch for the first time in my life. I walked into a shop and the watch was quite expensive. I couldn't afford it. I left and saw somebody selling a watch somewhere. I bought the watch for 50 cedis. So I put that watch on my wrist and then took a picture, and somebody showed interest and bought it. So that was like an idea moment for me that way.
Yeah,
Maybe I could make a business out of this.
it.
So what was the problem for me then? Survival, right? Finding a way to sustain myself. And some way, somehow, I sold a watch and got the idea that I could probably build a business out of it. And I mean, that's how the whole beginning started.
That's interesting. Meaning that in the bid to solve personal problem,
Yeah.
you ended up creating something innovative
Yep.
that is equally giving or solving other people's problems.
Exactly.
Because the watch you created is not only for yourself, but it's for larger society.
Yes.
And I guess that has also given employment to other people.
Yes.
So that is where innovation pays. So we need to think outside the box at all times. Now, what do you think currently is the innovative, potential or within our current environment in the scheme of things? What are the critical areas for innovation that we, the younger generation, can embrace?
Well, we happen to be in a very blessed moment. I'll say that because of technology and social media. When you look at the vast improvements that the world has experienced in the last decade, it had been a huge spike in terms of technology. I mean, not too long ago, me being in secondary school and remembering when somebody brought a smartphone for the first time and we had to queue in front of his dormitory to take turns in watching it, just having a look.
Yeah.
So there has been a huge jump in technology, and that has created a lot of opportunities for us. And things that we can create careers out of now, back some years ago or a decade or something ago, nobody would have imagined that anybody could make a career out of those things. So the opportunities are really endless for us now. Social media is there. We have to learn so much on social media. I spend more time learning on there than doing anything else. So once we have social media and identifying that there are problems all around us, if we highlight on the problem-solving need for innovation, look, somebody could be doing their business, okay, selling their V.U.C.A or whatever somewhere. And if you happen to be a more tech-savvy person, you don't have to start your own business of selling V.U.C.A. You could just approach that person, create a structure, put that person's product in your structure, and make money out of it.
Excellent.
There are endless opportunities around if only the youth will be more focused on problem solving. It's countless opportunities. Countless.
You have said it all. That means that technology has come handy to
very much
to the current generation. So instead of just looking at technology as a play tool, we should make innovation out of that. Because it is out of somebody's innovative idea that we have such platforms that we are using.
There's
so we should equally,
there,
so much knowledge is in there. Okay. Do you think leadership has a critical role? Leadership here, not only at the political level, but across board, be it at the traditional society level or religious level, or even at the home level or family level. Has a role to play in promoting innovation.
A huge role. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the family side of it because a lot of the damage started from the family level, from parenting, where parents hammered timidity into their children, and then these kids grow up and have no interest or no idea in problem solving or having any wish to, because they are scared of making mistakes. Parenting had caused a lot of influence in that regard. I remember growing up, I always fell in trouble because I happened to be the only one among my siblings who would ask why, who would not just get up and do something
just
because
for the sake
you
of
said it, but I just want to understand. And I would tell my mom all the time that, please pardon if I ask why. It's for a good purpose, to understand. Don't take my curiosity as stubbornness or disobedience, but create that atmosphere where I can learn and ask why. But most parents, they probably also grew up the same way, you know. Get up and do this, get up, no questions asked. So when they have kids who ask why, it comes sometimes as a shock to parents, and they might misinterpret that as stubbornness or disobedience. So the way we were brought up has a very, very huge role to play. And also in the corporate sector, like I mentioned earlier, there was that lack of freedom or ability to express my creativity that led me to resign from my job. Because I believed also that my creativity was for the betterment of the company. And if the company was not going to allow me to express that, which would help the company itself and help me develop, then I felt that I was doing myself and the company some disservice. Nobody was gaining from that relationship, so I had to quit. So having learned from that side of the table, I'm able to practice a more open-minded approach in my company. Okay. I can understand from the employer's point of view, the employee's point of view, because I had experienced both sides of the table, you know. So parenting has been a very key factor. Leadership at the workplace, and that's what transcends to the political leadership that we are experiencing.
Sadly. Yeah. All right, so again, just by way of summary, we need to take a look at the leadership at home, at the family unit level, that encouraging the children to explore is very critical to building an innovative society. And likewise, within the corporate environment, we need to, leaders within corporate environment need to promote a culture of innovation.
Yes.
That leads us to our next question that I'm going to ask you. You are an industry leader. What are some of the practical ways that you encourage innovation in your company?
Okay, so I do believe strongly that if I don't allow my employees to flaunt their expertise, I would end up marginalizing their potential. Okay. So one of the things I admire a lot, or I look for in my employees, is I would always throw the question back to them. Okay. If a worker comes to ask me, "Oh boss, what should we do about this?" I would ask him, "What do you think?" Because I believe that their opinion is quite more important to me than mine. If it was just by my opinion, my ideas, I don't think the company would go very far. That's why I brought them on board, to be able to benefit from their way of thinking. Okay. So the first thing I would do is to throw the question back and just their confidence and tell them that I believe so much in them, their way of thinking, they are smart people, and I believe that the decision that they will take will be in good faith. Doesn't mean they are perfect. I'm not perfect either. But if you develop a working structure that can accommodate errors, because bear in mind, we are human, we are not perfect. Innovation comes with errors. When people are afraid of making mistakes, they can never be creative. So you need to develop a structure that can accommodate errors without damaging the company. Okay. So once you have that in place, practice giving the workers their chance to bring their ideas on board.
Test
their ideas. Encourage them. You know, so that's one thing I would do. I will put you in that situation that you come to me with a question that demands critical thinking, and I'll tell you, I don't know.
So you go think about it.
Go and think about it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out.
Let's discuss. All right, viewers, it's an interesting conversation we are having. If you are a leader in the corporate environment today and you are watching us or you are listening to us, just take note that it's very important to have a very flexible approach to your leadership, as we have, put out there throughout this program. That leadership must open up to receive innovative ideas from employees. You don't know it all. You are not all-knowing. Leaders create other great leaders. If you are a great leader within the corporate environment, you should know that your greatness stems from the fact that you are able to create more greater leaders, so to speak. So without encouraging innovative thinking, as we are hearing from our guests, it is difficult that even one day when you are not there, the mess that you think you are trying to prevent by not allowing them to innovate may get, in even worse than you are thinking of. Anthony,
Hi.
it's an interesting conversation we are having. Leadership, again, is key.
Yep.
Now, what will you say if somebody argues that from company to company, culture varies? So when you come to our company, this is our culture. We have a regimented approach to doing things. In the current scheme of things, with regards to the current crop of young people at the workplace, do you think that a regimented approach, or which other approach do you think will be more favorable to the workplace, regardless of the industry?
Well, I do not believe that the same methods work for everybody. I have been that guy growing up, had to find it out the hard way, and probably took too long to finally acknowledge that I am different from other people. And instead of trying to fit into places that I was struggling to fit into, I embraced my differences and decided to grow in that direction. So I do believe strongly that every employee we have is different. This is very similar to what happens with the education system, where we put a tree up there and ask the monkeys and the fishes to climb the same tree. I don't think it works, and it's very difficult, but that is again why human resource management is the key to the success of any company. If you can find a way to be flexible, even though you have your company values, there are values that are not up for discussion, will not change. But methods can be tweaked when there's a need to suit the strength of people. You see, the whole point for me is getting employees to grow in line with their unique strength. If the employee is not growing, your company is not growing either. So if you put a rigid structure that limits the growth of the employee, you are limiting the growth of your own company. So
that's profound.
You need to develop flexible HR structures. Spend more on HR if you should. Tweak the structures until it works. And it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come cheap. To be able to tailor some structures to meet the strength of other people. In my space, for example, I had a similar issue like that, where I work with creatives a lot. And there's a kind of environment required for creativity, which I had known that when I'm in a creative zone, I listen to music, right? I have instruments that I listen to, violin, piano, and all that when I'm working. So imagine having a group of creatives in my company. Then you have a manager who is against music being played there. It might favor the administrative people who do not want the music, but it might not favor the creatives who need the music to work. So if you bring one rigid structure and apply it to everybody, you would defeat the strength of other people. So you need to be able to find a structure that works for everybody. Like I said, it doesn't come cheap, it doesn't come easy, but that's why business is challenging and hard.
Thank you very much. If your employees are not growing, your business is also not growing. You need to grow your employees or your team members to be able to grow your business. Now that you touched briefly on it, but we'll go a bit deeper on your creatives. Your customized watches. That is the specialty you have. How do you do that? How do you go about it?
Well,
not touching on your trade secret.
Well, there's no secret in that. The whole truth is that I love problem solving. When a customer comes to me and says that I need to get a watch for a mentor of mine who happens to be a pilot and a retiring pilot, what can you do for me? That's when I have like I'm happy, like a kid about to play a video game. I'm very excited when I have to bring my creativity into play, and more excited when I see it come out beautifully and the customer loves it. those are the everyday victories for me, you know. So, yeah, that's just how it is. When a customer comes and has their unique preferences, I'm always very happy to attempt them. Sometimes my employees might even be confused because I would tell the workers that this thing is not possible. Tell the customers we cannot do this, we can only do that. Then there are times again that the customer will request for the same thing, and I'll be like, bring it, I can do it.
You can do it.
And I'm like, boss, you said yesterday that you can't do it. You know,
Why
I
today?
feel like anything is possible if you sit down to analyze, to put your mind to it. Problem solving is just fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That's it. So problem solving is fun when you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
It is not the problem that is key, but finding solution to the problem is key. Cherished viewers, we are enjoying the conversation, and I believe you are enjoying it too. Let's take a quick break, and then when we are back, we'll continue the conversation.
Nobody are taking number first. By you. You are telling me say take the number give me.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay. I dey come.
Mame, felicitando na moji.
Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Well up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him.
Hey, go for na buajungwa mami.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Go.
Welcome back, cherished viewers and listeners. So far, we have spoken about what innovation is, how it is done, especially with our guests telling us that you have to identify a problem, you must have a foresight, you must have the willingness to solve that problem, and that is where your creativity will set in, and then you become innovative. And again, he told us that if you are a business that is not interested, or you are a leader who is not interested in growing your staff or your team members, your business will end up not growing as well. The phone lines are now open. You can reach us through the number 0531 982298, 0531 982298. If you're outside the shores of Ghana, you just add +233 to it, and you will reach us to contribute to this conversation that we're having. Now, on to our guest, Anthony, once again. When it comes to innovation, what is that one key factor that runs through your mind on a daily basis as you embark on the journey of innovation? Because I believe that's what you do every day.
Yeah, that one factor, I think it will be the customer satisfaction. Because even though I have this excitement in bringing my creativity to play, it still has to be in line with what the customers want.
Exactly.
So customer satisfaction is paramount. And it's one thing I tell my workers every time, that every career or every job comes with sacrifices. So some of the sacrifices they had to make is, forfeiting their right to prove that they are right. When it comes to dealing with customers. I've identified that sometimes you see the customer is very wrong, and you want to arrive at a point where you've gotten the customer to admit that they were wrong. you may not end up achieving that and just create chaos trying to achieve that. So I tell them all the time, just like how a firefighter's sacrifice is that when he's called at 3 a.m., he has to jump off and go fight the fire. That is the sacrifice they also have to make to forfeit their right to prove that they are right and just satisfy the customers. You know, so customer satisfaction is what drives me in when I'm applying innovation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what it means, therefore, is that in all your thoughts regarding your creativity around your business, the customer is central.
Yep.
So what can you innovate to satisfy the customer?
Yes.
By way of service, by way of products.
Yep.
That is what I guess you do.
Yes.
Okay. Viewers or cherished listeners, please let's take note of some of these tips. Very critical for our own progress as business leaders, as up and coming young leaders. Customer is central to innovation. That is what our guest just said. Now, I saw that you have written a book as well. Can you tell us a bit about the book?
My book, The Inside Job, it's a book about the things that I had to find out only after becoming an entrepreneur. You know, I studied business in school in UPS. But when I started my business, a lot of the things were quite new to me. I was like, well, it's kind of different what we learn in the classroom, and then when we get on the grounds, what happens here is also different. Okay. So it was that perspective that I wrote the book in, to highlight things that you may not necessarily have been taught in the classroom, and things that I have had to learn on the path of entrepreneurship in very unorthodox ways. I'm not a very orthodox person. I believe that we should be allowed to express things in our own way. So I use that approach to put together my experiences and the lessons from them in my path of business. That's what the inside job is about. That's why I gave it that name. What happens on the inside.
Okay.
Yes.
So I guess lots of up-and-coming, enterprising young businessmen can get a lot of tips from that book. Where can we get copies?
I have the book on my website, anthonydzamefe.com.
Okay.
And get the e-copy or even order the hard copy from the website, anthonydzamefe.com. You can also contact 055-751-6744. I got it right. 055-751-6744 to get a copy.
That's great. Cherished viewers, on this show, our aim is to expose the rudiments of leadership, and by so doing, we'll link it up to what we can learn, unlearn, and relearn to accelerate that process of our development efforts. It doesn't come easy, but with focus and determination, I believe we will all get in there. Our guest has said it. He has told us that it has not been a smooth journey, but with determination, creative mindset, you will always get in there. This is a book also here with us with the title Prosperity Paradox: How Innovation Can Drive Our Prosperity. If you also have access to or the opportunity to come across this book, please procure it. It will lead you to understanding the rudiments of our time and how innovation can help you in coming out of your own circumstances and in the betterment or providing a better society wherever you find yourself. Anthony, we will continue while we wait for, I guess our viewers are enjoying the conversation. So we'll continue to, have this discourse on the topic, leadership and innovation.
Yeah.
Without leadership, it is said that leadership is what drives everything.
Yep.
Without leadership, how do you ensure that in your absence, there is still leadership in your business?
Well, you can't run a business without a hierarchy, an organizational structure, delegation, supervision, and that workflow. So definitely we have a very good structure where people know exactly who their superiors are, who they learn from, who they report to, and a whole monitoring culture system well implemented. So in my absence, and it's very important to create your workflow in the manner that each part, even though independent, is part of the whole machine.
Okay.
So people are experts in various fields and departments. You have to get to a point where you become a supervisor, even though there are key elements of the production process that I still take care of. In my absence, the structure is set up in a way that work can continue in my absence.
That's good. So you mentioned the word delegation. So you ensure that at any point in time, even things that you are supposed to do, somebody is available to do it on your behalf. All right. Viewers, Anthony is, as I said, a multiple award-winning entrepreneur. I must just use the opportunity to mention some of the awards that he has won as a person and as a company, that for his company as well. He's been awarded as among 100 most influential young leaders in Africa, 2021. Advanced Media 50 influential young Ghanaians 2021. Before I continue, let's get to Jason. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Doc.
You're welcome to Leadership 360 Show. Please,
thank you very much.
Let's have your input.
So, Doc, I want to find out, how do you handle failure?
Please speak up a bit.
I want to ask, how do you handle failure?
How do you handle
Failure.
failure? Okay. That's a very critical one. Anthony, have you failed before?
Yeah, countless times.
Okay, how do you handle that? Or how have you handled failure?
How have I handled failure? I think even in boxing, they will say that it's the punches you don't see coming that hurt the most or that knock you out.
Yep.
So what do? I have a very open-minded approach to setbacks or failure. That no failure comes as a surprise to me, to knock me out. So even though I would fail at certain things, before the failure comes, I had made room. Then you really can't attempt anything new, because you can only find out if it would work after you implement it. So we need to have that open mind. People will say live in the moment. I don't know how to live in the moment. I'm always thinking about possible, negativities that could happen and how to solve them. So that's how I handle failure in life, by always making sure I'm prepared for the worst case scenarios. While I'm such a risk taker to attempt things, I'm always aware of what could happen if it goes wrong.
That's great. That's great. Dora, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And welcome to Leadership 360 Show. Your inputs, please.
Okay, I'm Dora calling from Accra. Please, I want to ask, how do you sustain your business in this season?
How do you sustain
your business in this season, this era?
Okay. I guess the import of your question is, in this era of so much volatility and uncertainty, or, difficult times that we find ourselves in, how do you sustain, or how have you sustained your business?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the word volatile, right? It's such a volatile market when you look at business and marketing, especially. Some years ago, if you have a content, an advertising content, that content could be relevant for 1 year. Companies had commercials that became songs on our lips and was valid for like years. But now it's such a volatile market in the sense that you could spend money on creating marketing content and put it out there. The next 5 minutes, people are flooded with content and information. So your commercial might be valid for 5 minutes. Before you realize, somebody has insulted somebody, some politician has done this, there's a new wave.
Okay.
Then attention is gone from your commercial.
Right.
So it's more difficult now, but it has made conversations like this very important, to know that the innovation process has become almost daily.
Okay.
So
just hold it there. Let me take Betty from Kaneshi. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Please, your question.
Please, I'm Betty. Okay, Doc, I want to know. He was mentioning that he allows his workers or employees to be creative. So I want to know, like, in allowing them to be creative, are there things that they do that you do allow them to exceed certain boundaries?
All right. So you're asking, he permits his workers to take initiative and be creative, but in so doing, what are the boundaries? Do you allow them to go beyond certain boundaries, or how do you go about it?
There has to be boundaries, definitely. Let me give a very direct example. Okay. Like the people who make the straps, the leather or the chain straps for my watches, okay, right? Identifying that I had trained them over and over, and they've become very creative in the sense that they could even come up with new ideas that impress me. That gives me joy. But regardless of that, I would always make them know that no design should be posted on social media without me seeing it first. Okay. Because the company has to be projected in my lens, how I see things. So if you have any creative ideas, any combination of this and that on a leather strap or a chain strap, just go ahead, okay, but show it to me.
So the brand must be projected.
Yes.
In all innovative ideas, the brand must be projected the right way.
Yes.
All right. Hajia from Kaneshi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hajia, good afternoon.
My name is Hajia. Good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome to Leadership 360. Your input, please.
From Kokomlemle, not
Kaneshi. Kokomlemle,
yes,
sorry.
Yes.
Please.
I want to ask, how much is his book?
All right.
And I'm so proud of him, and he has done really well. He should continue doing the good job.
That's a great fun.
The book is 80 cities.
80?
80, yes.
Okay. Ajia, the book is 80 Ghana cities. 80 Ghana cities. Thank you. So, as always said, failure or fail to fail is first attempt in learning.
Yeah, good way.
So, you try, and you know whether you succeed or not. You don't, you may never know whether the idea itself is workable or not.
Exactly.
So failure is part and parcel of innovation. Benjamin from La Paz, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Doc.
Welcome to the show. Your point,
welcome.
Please.
Doc, please, I don't even know how to start, but I used to be an entrepreneur.
All right.
And God willing, anything I set my hand on, it becomes successful. But maintaining it becomes a problem for me. So I want to ask if there can be any help. I mean, the man sitting there, I think I know him personally, Caveman. I even used to do deliveries for him some time past that I drink, I don't know if I'm right.
All right.
I have that problem, so I need help.
All right. Anthony, what advice will you give?
He was saying that he succeeds, but it's hard to maintain. Okay, that's quite vague. I would have wanted to know what are the challenges that he faces, what makes it hard for him to maintain. But without knowing that, I can say that what I've identified about most of the youth is that we have some creative people have this tendency to get confused by multiple great ideas, which comes to creatives. And I call it being cursed with a blessing.
Okay. We have, time is actually not on our side now. So please just wrap it up with this.
Yes, so I would have wanted to know what the challenges are that he's facing. Then I could have helped him more directly. But I think if he's a creative, he should be able to filter out among the many ideas that he has, the one that he would die doing.
Okay. All right. Just figure out what comes to you natural and what you love to do, regardless of the challenges that come, and focus on it and drive it home. Cherished viewers, it's been an amazing time having you around. Time flies so much when you're having a very beautiful conversation. Innovation and leadership are so intertwined. You cannot separate them. If you innovate, you must lead the process. And that dovetails into even sustaining the business. If you don't lead in the process, you cannot sustain it. And to be able to sustain, you must pledge yourself to an honor code or principles that you stand by or you live by. And that sends us to our honor code on this show. Let's take a look at our honor code on the show.
I am a proud and firm African. I will take a stand. I will lead and be the change. Come and take my hand. For the safety, honor, and welfare of my country and company come first. Always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the people I lead come next. My own ease, comfort, and safety come last. Always and every time.
Welcome back, cherished viewers. And that does it for today. It's been amazing having Anthony on this show. I believe that from here, the conversation continues. Those of us who are interested in getting to know all the critical efforts that he put in to get to where he is, let's get his book, The Inside Job. The Inside Job, and we'll get to know more of his mindset and how he drives innovation to achieve success in his business. Anthony, nice having you around. It's been a pleasure.
Big pleasure for me.
We hope to see you another time when we call upon you.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, that does it for today. Let's continue to learn and relearn, to unlearn, so as to accelerate our leadership effort at making our societies a better place for all of us. Bye.